spiritual conviction rather than proof. Don't you get it? It means that you believe but you don't see. I didn't like that definition either, because a belief in the doctrines of religion. I prefer to believe in the words of Jesus, based on spiritual conviction rather than proof. Well, there's a lot of proof that Jesus lived and walked the earth and died and rose from the dead, and that's fact. And they're talking about it being faith, so it's a slight difference. In the Gospel of Luke, this is why I wanted to go on it, because Jesus actually asked a very curious question in Luke 18. However, when the Son of Man comes back, will he find faith on the earth? Now, according to the doctrines, according to the dictionary, yeah, that's not a problem. They will find strong belief in doctrine and faith in politicians. But is that really God's definition of faith? And that's what I wanted to look at this morning. You see, Jesus never said things on his own. There was always a backup or a reason behind it. And it usually comes from the Old Testament. So, in the early book, right at the beginning of Genesis, in 6, it says, "The Lord was sorry that he made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. The Lord said, I will blot out man, whom I have created from the face of the land, from man to animals, to creeping things and birds of the sky, for I am sorry that I have made them." But then Noah found favour in the eyes of the Lord. See, man had got so bad that, a bit like now, really. Actually, yeah, there's an interesting experiment that they did. They got 30 mice, 15 male, 15 female, and built them a town with tunnels and places to go. And within the first year, they'd gone up to 2,000, because we know how mice breed wonderfully. But after that, they started to get problems, because the mice became unhappy because there was too many of them. And they were guarding food, which they didn't normally do. The males were actually staying outside of the burrows to guard their food and their children. And mice they stopped mating. And within the second year, it all declined. The amount of children being born declined. Which mice just, the female mice were so stressed in the third year that they wouldn't let the males near them. And by year 5, the colony had gone.
One mouse policy.
Yes. So, trying to control society that man does actually has a detrimental effect on the mice. I mean, they've got a habitat built purely for them. Each of them have got their own accommodation. But they basically weren't allowed to be nice. And they all went back. And it's just interesting then Noah comes up, right, anyway, just a social experiment, and it all went wrong. And Noah found favour in the eyes of the Lord. In Noah's day, there was only 8 faithful souls left on earth. Could this be what Christ is alluding to in Luke? As we read in Sodom and Gomorrah, there was only a few faithful souls, so he took them out before he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, and he took Noah out before he destroyed the earth. And he's talking about taking us out, the faithful, before the day of the Lord comes. And it just sort of, what is the expectation then of faith from God? I know how we define it, which we'll get onto in a minute. In Christianity, faith is a fundamental element defined as trust and confidence in God and Jesus Christ. It involves believing in God's promises and trusting in his faithfulness. Often described as an assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Faith is not just an intellectual belief, but a personal relationship with God, involving trust and action. And I'm going to break that down a little bit, because obviously God is faithful to us. And his meaning of being faithful is his way of being faithful that we transfer both ways. I mean, the people on earth before Noah's day had a belief, because they all stemmed from God. They all had a belief in him, but their actual practices were not, that's the word I'm looking for, kosher. It wasn't a good belief, or it wasn't a practiced belief. It was a case of, yes, there's a God, but we still do it our own way. Oh, he knows.
Satan himself knows, believes.
Yeah.
That's not, he's not living in faith.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of people that actually do believe in God but don't come to church because they haven't, or don't actually put their faith into what he's doing. Trust and confidence in God. Faith is about believing in God's existence, character, and promises. Which is, how many of us actually study the character of God? It's just an interesting thought, that was all. We read the Bible, but we don't actually, we believe in existence, but do we actually know the character of God and all his promises for the future?
It depends how you look at it, isn't it? I mean, it's like, at the end of the day, I always sit down when I'm laying down relaxed with mine, thinking, what's got done for me today?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I can always, I've woke up healthy for starters, you know what I mean? And, we plan to do well, everything's doing well, everyone's happy and that, and to me, that's a positive of God being there for you.
Yes, yeah. It's a reliance on God's goodness and ability to fulfill his word. Because his word to us is everything. And I think a lot of problems come by the fact that actually some of his word we like, so it's good, but some of his word is challenging.
Some of it's actually understanding the terminology of the day as well.
Yes, yeah. That's why I'm looking at faith, because it's very different to what we think, I think. The trust is based on the Bible's teaching about God's faithfulness throughout history. If you look at it, he's been faithful to his people, Israel, from the very beginning. He's always pulled a remnant out as well. So he's always been faithful to his people. And we are grafted in, so he will be faithful to us. But will he find that faith that he's gives to us? Will he find it the other way around. Believe in Jesus. Christians believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that through him salvation is possible. Faith in Jesus involves trusting in his sacrifice for humanity's sin and his resurrection. Hey, kids are I don't have a problem with any of that, really. Salvation is more than possible. You know, believe in Jesus, it's there. You know, you can take it. And if you want to accept Jesus, then that's salvation is yours. Faith in Jesus is trusting in his sacrifice for humanity's sin and his resurrection. A lot of people believe in God but don't believe in the resurrection of Christ. So that's not the faith that we're talking about. We have to have a faith in what Jesus did for us. You see, it becomes a twofold thing. Faith involves both belief and acting on that belief. It's all right us saying, yeah, Jesus died for us, but then we have to act on that. You know, it's all right saying the teachings of Jesus were wonderful, but they don't apply to me. You know, but I'm still going to heaven. No, you're wrong. It's that acceptance and action of what Christ taught. So faith becomes something a little bit more than just a basic belief, I think. It's an acceptance of God's truth and a practical expression of faith, living a life that reflects one's beliefs. To all Christians, I mean, there's 2 billion Christians, but do they all live?
Not even one who goes to church.
No, I didn't say that.
I did.
That's right. Because we've both been ministers for a while. And it's very true. So when Jesus comes back, if he came back today, you know, we're down today, all of us. Do other things become more important than Jesus? Because he says to meet and to fellowship together. And he's given us a day to do it. You know, is this part of his teaching? Yes, it is. Gathering on Sunday, coming together. You know, it's not an alternative, you know, I'll do it on Wednesday instead. You do it on Wednesday as well. And faith is not a one-time decision. It's a journey throughout life. We know this because the faith that we have is the same faith that God has in us. And if we accepted Christ and then God went, yeah, that's fine then, I'll see you at the end of it all. No, our expectation is that God walks with us through our lives. And God's expectation is that we walk with him through our lives. And we include him in everything we do. And he includes us. This is written for us. We're included in this, right up to the last day, the day of the Lord. What he does for his people, he's talking to you.
Last question.
Yes.
You know Sunday, saying about obviously meeting on Sunday.
Yeah.
Don't know what we say before, but I mean, what is it about certain? There was this group, obviously you know, that I spoke to you about months ago about they were meeting on the Saturday because it's all they should be meeting on the Sunday. Blah blah blah. What's all that about?
It's
On the Saturday.
they meet on Saturday because that was the original Sabbath.
Right.
the Jewish Sabbath.
Yeah.
But it's debatable whether you should meet on a Saturday or a Sunday. But I think as long as you put one day aside for God,
Yeah.
because the Sabbath is for us, so that we can be together as a family. You know, the church family and your own family, and take a day off from the world, and get into your spiritual awareness. So it doesn't matter if it's a Saturday
Yeah.
or a Sunday, as long as you come together and you can come together in fellowship with the Lord.
I've always asked for it.
Yeah.
On the Saturday.
I mean, if we're going to start that, we need to start the Sabbath on a Saturday night when the sun goes down,
Friday.
I'm off on
or
Saturday.
Friday night. Yeah, depends which Sabbath you want.
I'm off on Saturday.
Oh,
I get a handful of Sundays off. But I'm always off on a Saturday. Good.
You see, faith then involves facing doubts, persevering through challenges, and seeking God's guidance. It's about our relationship with Him. But it then gets deeper than that. In Mark 11 it says, "Have faith in God." Jesus answered, "I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, 'Go throw yourself into the sea,' and does not doubt in their hearts, but believe what they say will happen, it will be done for them." You don't have to pick the mountain up and throw it into the sea. You just have to have faith that it will be done for you by God. That's the hard bit. Because we have a tendency to want to do things ourselves. Or if God said, "No, I'll do that," then we expect it done within our time period. Instead of waiting for God to do it in His time. I mean, we've got lots of changes happening in life at the moment. David's got a new job. We've given some more. We've got stuff happening, and it's great. We've been asking God for this for a while, but then suddenly it's all together. The whole this mountain and stuff is being moved. We've asked for it to be moved and asked for circumstances to change, and suddenly it's all gone together. Like, yeah, okay, the mountain's gone, mate. You can carry on forward. See, I want to take this even further now. Hebrews 11:1 states that faith is an assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. But I'm going to break this down into Hebrew for you, because it's actually deeper than that. In Hebrew, it translates to, I'm not going to read it, alright? Wa'amo hu hasat. No, I'm not reading a lot, I can't really do it. Faith is a firm substance of things hoped for and manifestation of things to come. That is the actual translation in Hebrew. Faith is a firm substance. Now that's slightly different to assurance of things hoped for. Because I think if you hope for something, you actually got a way out.
Yeah.
Yeah? I hope it'll be nice tomorrow, and if it rains, it's okay. It's fine. But that faith as a substance is more than that. It's like love. Love, to me, is something tangible. Not in itself, but by what it actually achieves. I know Debbie loves me. I can't actually get hold of the love, but I can see the reaction and the action of it. And I think faith is the same things. It's a substance. It's a relationship with God. It's not just a word or an asking. It becomes a solid relationship with God. Like love. You know, God loves me. And it's more than just love. It's that relationship. Faith is the firm substance of things. Which translates, faith is a firm substance of things hoped for and manifest of things not seen. The translation actually emphasises, because some of the words that are used has more of a meaning, if you like, in the original. It's practical, and it becomes its very own nature, because faithfulness is one of the characters of God. It's the same as love is one of the characters of God, and forgiveness is one of the characters of God. So faithfulness and faith is more than just a mental belief. It's more than the dictionary puts it. It's something substantial, because it comes from God. It becomes substantial because it's our reliance on God, that He will. You know, it doesn't say in there, if you ask God with hope, He'll move the mountain. It says if you ask Him, He'll move the mountain. And that's faith. You see, the word hope in there translates slightly differently in Hebrew. It becomes trust, faith, or faithfulness. Indicates that a faith is a thing. It's a substance, an assurance. A firm substance, an assurance, firm assurance. So we miss slightly on our expectation of what we've been told faith is. It's actually deeper. It becomes one of the core values of God. His faithfulness. When we ask, we know He loves us because He won't do us any harm. That's what He says, He will prosper us. His faithfulness is the same way. If we ask, we will receive. So faith becomes something even more